What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Thingos back again, and today I'm here to give you guys a review slash thoughts on the new prequel movie for Jujutsu Kaisen, and that is Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 already dropped a couple months ago in Japan, but they just recently moved it over here this past weekend to the US, and it's been showing in theaters everywhere this past weekend, and the sales are really going strong. A lot of people are fucking with this movie, and it's getting a lot of praise. It kind of reminds me of what was going on with Demon Slayer Mugen Train. It's crazy how so many animated movies, especially currently, are getting so much love and praise and a lot of theater presence. Now, it's interesting about Jujutsu Kaisen because I've been a fan of this series ever since it dropped. Now, I started on the anime. I didn't read the manga until after I found out about the anime. Now, what I actually did was I watched like the first couple of episodes, and I went back and I actually read the manga first, then went back to the anime and finished it. I enjoy both of them, especially the manga. I currently got past the Shibuya incident arc, which is pure fucking sauce. And when season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen get animated, I'm saying it right now, it's gonna break the fucking internet. Toji Fushiguro was also a very good introduction to the story, and all around the manga, I just had a great time, and I reread it a lot because I just like the story so much, and it gives me a lot of reminds me a lot of Bleach in a way. And now, what I didn't know is that there was actually a prequel series called Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Now, fans of Jujutsu Kaisen actually told me about this. And when I found out, I wanted to actually check it out because the character who is being like used a lot, primarily in the story right now, you know, in the canon manga, he actually has a very personal and very important prequel story called Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Now, I read Jujutsu Kaisen 0 and I absolutely adored it. It's a very short four issue like little short story prequel that takes place before the original story of Jujutsu Kaisen. And it neatly fits perfectly like with the story. Like it's perfectly paced for a movie, like, you know how they have it spaced out. So I never thought of it actually being a movie though, but they made it a movie and it was a slam dunk. Like, I couldn't think of a more perfect way to get that story out because the 4 issues, like I said, they just perfectly sit there, you know, nicely placed for a movie to just be made. Now, the thing I think is very interesting about Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is that it was actually the one-shot for Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, what mangakas do is that they have this magazine. I know it's in multiple, it's not just only in Shonen Jump or whatever, but they have this thing that they do in Japan where mangakas, they release one-shots in publications, you know, popular magazines, so that they can get kind of like an idea for a story out there. Like they put out feelers. People read these magazines, they get to see their one-shot, kind of get an idea of the story that they want to tell. And if it gets enough positive reception, if a lot of people like it, then they hit the mangaka up and they be like, you know what, we're gonna publish this shit, get us the full story, man, we'll see what we can do. And that's how a lot of comic book you know, mangas get created. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen also had a one-shot. You know, it wasn't exclusive to this, it wasn't new to this. You know, it had to do the same thing, go through the same steps like everybody else. But in Gege Akutami's case, that's the guy who created the series, he did something real unique and cool. Now, I'm pretty sure this has been done before. I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time this has been done. It's just the first time that I've personally seen it, and I thought it was really cool. His prequel story is actually the one-shot to Jujutsu Kaisen. So he put out that one-shot, people read it, and they loved it, and they wanted him to keep going with the whole series. Now, I can imagine why people like that one-shot so much, because it's fucking saucy. Like, I mean, it's like he tells a whole full story in that shit, you know, before you even get to the main series. Like most one-shots that I've read, they are like contained stories, you know what I'm saying? They tell like a story right there in that one issue. But at the same time, they don't really seem like they're put together enough to be made into a production like a movie or something like that. And usually, it's very disconnected from the final product. They can't really make a lot of these one-shots prequels or even connected to the story because there's so many changes in it. And it's kind of like the basis of the ideas, you know, where they stem from. And then the final product is when they make the manga. You can see where a lot of those ideas changed and flourished, or, you know, adapted into what they eventually ended up becoming. But it's rare that you see a manga make a one-shot that can be so easily connected to the overarching story, like the main story, and he just called it a prequel, and it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we follow the story of Yuta Akatsu. Now, Yuta Akatsu is a character that's been mentioned in the anime here and there, and he's currently in the manga right now. He wasn't in the manga that much, but man, what he's doing in the manga right now is super hype. He's a fan favorite character. A lot of people like him. He's super strong, and I think most of his appeal comes from not only his character and his development, but the fact that he's second to Gojo. Like, he is super strong. His cursed energy is through the roof. And on top of that, he has a really interesting dynamic with a cursed spirit that is attached to him named Rika. Now, this goes into the summary of the movie, so I'm just gonna go ahead and, just go right into that. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, is actually the story, like I said, of Yuta Akatsu. He's a kid who became best friends with another kid named Rika. Now, when they were children, I'm gonna be honest, they probably shouldn't been doing this shit. But Rika stole a fucking wedding ring. I don't know where, they don't explain that. Jujutsu Kaisen, cool thing about it is he usually just get to the nitty gritty. It doesn't really like give you a lot of needless exposition. They don't explain a lot of shit. That's actually one of the cons that I see a lot of people say about it. They love the animation, they love the fight scenes, but the story can just be a little hard to follow sometimes because of how quickly it just gets brushed over, or how fast the pacing is. They don't really take too long to explain shit, and the stuff that they do explain, sometimes people feel like they need to explain it a little bit more. But me, I actually praise the show for that. I think that's one of its strengths, the fact that it doesn't really linger too long on anything and just gets straight to the point and shows you what you're there to see. So I feel like that's one of the biggest strengths about the series overall. But anyway, Rika, she steals a wedding ring. I don't know who from, but I feel sorry for the guy who paid for that shit, probably his wife. If he came out of pocket, then I'm sorry, man, you probably gonna have to get another ring, or maybe you have to postpone the wedding. But so Rika, she straight up proposed to Yuta. And it's funny because I thought Yuta pulled the ring out. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I saw the movie, I was like, oh shit, she did pull that motherfucker. Like, Rika wasn't playing no games, boy. She said, when we get older, we can get married. She trying to lock it in early. Lil Yuta didn't know nothing. He just thinking like, we're gonna be best friends forever and ever. But she was really setting this nigga up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Poor Yuta didn't know no better. But right after they did that, Rika actually got ran over and killed by a car. So she died instantly, and this isn't a spoiler, you see it on the trailer, but I will say spoiler alert for things coming after this. So when she dies, I guess her, it's actually revealed that Yuta is the one that cursed her, but in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, if somebody dies with a lot of regrets, a lot of things that they feel like have been unfinished, or maybe a lot of harboring emotions that they never got to get out, like anger, frustration, sadness, usually when they die, they become a curse, or they help to manifest a curse because of their emotions that they still have tied to the human world. Rika, having a strong love and connection with Yuta, when she died, she did not want to go. And she pretty much became attached to Yuta as a very strong, dangerous, cursed spirit. And her obsession and her love for him pretty much turned into psychotic behavior that is very dangerous to people who pretty much even get close to Yuta or get to know him. Definitely if they bully him. I mean, shit, the first scene in the movie is some bullies fucking with Yuta, and Rika literally grabs them and she stuffs them niggas into a locker and closes it like grown people. She just folds them and pushes them into a locker and close. It's intense, bro. It's crazy, but it really just lets you know how vicious and strong this cursed spirit is. Now, of course, we get revealed to Gojo. That's favorite character. We all love Gojo, man. It's a fucking boss, man. Anyway, he takes Yuta in, he lets him know his situation, and that Jujutsu High is actually going to take him in so that it can help him learn how to control his cursed energy so he can use it to help others and exercise cursed spirits. Now, Gojo is the one taking personal responsibility for him because we all know how strong he is. He's probably the only one that can take him out in a quickly and timely manner. The OGs, you know what I'm saying, like the the guys that are over the Jujutsu school and the council that's over the Jujutsu world, you know, the old heads, the guys that don't really want to change that much of the status quo. They want to just go ahead and get rid of Yuta, but they agree to postpone his execution, similar to what happened to Itadori in the main series, so that Gojo can keep an eye on him, train him, and see if they can get some use out of it. After that, Gojo introduces Yuta to the rest of the class and the first years, and we get reintroduced to characters that we really enjoyed seeing in the season 1 of the anime. My personal favorite, Maki Zenin, whew, sexy. Then you got Panda, he's not a panda. And then you have Inumaki, he's the one who uses cursed speech to actually fight. These are very interesting cast of characters. I love all of them and what they bring to the movie. It just makes you enjoy them a whole lot more because we saw them in the animated series, but we didn't get that much time with them. So getting more time with them in this movie just gives us a better understanding of their characters. And yeah, if you liked them in the anime, then you get to get more of them, especially Maki. There's a scene in here in particular when she trained in Yuta and she did something I did not expect. And boy, the whole theater just went like, ooh, when she did that shit. So you know what part I'm talking about. But yeah, overall, man, just, you know, that was just pretty much the start of it. You know, he gets introduced to the students and they work with him in various ways to help him master his control. They also build up their bonds and relationships. At first they seem a little scared of him because of the power of the cursed energy that he, you know, brings with him, and then they actually see Rika. It's a little funny scene where Gojo explains to him the whole point of Jujutsu High and cursed energy, and they was like, you just now telling him that shit? I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, overall the movie just pretty much focuses on him trying to overcome the problems that he feels that he has with Rika becoming a part of his life. You see, Yuta feels like it's not okay for him to live because he feels responsible for everybody he comes in contact with getting hurt because of Rika being his cursed spirit. So he actually, his growth and his arc in the movie is to become stronger, to actually gain full control of Rika, and to know that it is okay for him to go on living, enjoy life, have friends, and do what he feels is right without feeling like the threat of something bad happening just because of his presence. We also get a lot more of Suguru Ghetto, the main villain of the animated series that was always kind of like, you know, twirling his mustache and setting up plans with the cursed spirits and everything like that. Now, he was definitely an interesting character that people wanted to know more about. We knew he was the villain, but we didn't really know that much about him. Now, I read the manga, so I know, like, Ghetto, he got a lot of shit going on that you guys are going to expect in season 2. But it was just very interesting and fun because the guy, he is playing it up. He really enjoyed it. The Gojo is such an interesting character to watch and such a great villain to watch. He has this dichotomy and this goal where he literally wants to wipe out all non-curse users and leave the world with nothing but curse users. Like, that's literally, so he wants to wipe out pretty much like, shit, 80% of the population probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looks down on regular humans that don't have cursed energy or can't see curses. He calls them monkeys, primitive. He was really giving me a lot of Frieza vibes, but the guy has hands. You know what I'm saying? He can fight, man. He was using the, what was it, Playful Cloud, the cursed tool that we saw in season 1, the 3-piece nunchuck. And it was cool to see that that's actually where it came from. And he was fucking shit up with, I'm talking about, bruh, his fight at the end with Rika and Yuta was fucking dope as hell. Like, bro was blocking both of them at the same time, jumping around, the way the camera was moving. That's another thing. The animation was so top tier in this movie. It was gorgeous. Really liked how they did all the fight scenes, and they added a lot to some of the fight scenes, like when Ghetto said that he was going to do the 1,000-year curtain in the 1,000 Night of Curses or something like that. You actually got to see the different cities that he put the curses at for them to fight. They didn't really show much of that in the manga. You got to see a lot more of that. You got to see characters that we enjoyed, like Nanami, and the character with the white hair that got the braid coming down in front of her face that was carrying a big ass axe. She always be making sure she got to get paid and shit. Forgot her name, but she was very interesting to watch as well. We even got to see a lot of Ino, the guy that got the mask that he pulled down over his face. Like, didn't see much of him at all in season 1. But you're gonna get to see a lot of him in season 2, and I thought it was cool to see him fight some of the curses as well, him get a little development. Minor character, but I still thought it was interesting. And Yeah, we actually got to see an actual full fleshed out fight, if you can call it that, between Gojo and the black guy that had like the whip, because we didn't even, like I said, they kind of skipped past, it was off screen, you know, they skipped past a lot of that in the manga. So I really love how this movie shed more light on what was actually going on in the cities with the curses as they was dealing with them, and also jumping back to Suguru Ghetto and his fight against Yuta, which was also awesome. But overall, man, if I was to score this movie, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Really love the animation, the story, and the fighting. If I was to give it a con, I'd just say kind of what I said before. I mean, I like the story, but I can see how the pacing can be a little like a problem for some people. Not necessarily how the story goes from one scene to the next, but just how they take the time to really explain stuff and flesh stuff out. They do kind of rush through shit. I feel like they could do maybe a little better job of explaining certain things. Stuff just kind of happens out of nowhere without like proper setup or people like really, you know, understanding how did it get there. Now with a lot of shit with Jujutsu Kaisen, you kind of got to read between the lines to figure out what's going on. A lot of this shit isn't as in your face as most mangas and anime, so you kind of have to like figure it out on your own. But you know, I know a lot of people might not want to do that. So for me, it's personally not a problem. But you know, I could see how it can be a problem for somebody else. I actually like that it just gets straight to the nitty gritty, like I said before. But yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, man. You know, Jujutsu Kaisen, on the other end of the spectrum, has very good action and fight scenes. I love what they did with Ghetto. Seeing Yuta on the screen for the first time was amazing. So, you know, it was a lot of things that I absolutely loved about that movie. I'll probably see it again. Really loved it. 8 out of 10. Maybe move it up to an 8.5. Let me know what you think about this movie. This video went on a little longer than I wanted, but I really wanted to just, you know, kind of break it down a little bit, talk about it, give it some of my thoughts. I also thought that fight with Panda when he came out of nowhere and went against Suguru was pretty interesting as well. But yeah, man, overall 8.5. Jujutsu Kaisen 0, lit. I fuck with it. Go see it if you haven't already, because it just came out this past weekend. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe, hit that like button, you know what I'm saying? Let YouTube know you fuck with me so you can get referred or recommended to more videos. Also, if you want to join the Discord, go to Invincible Disciples, hit the link in the description down below. And if you want to join Viltrumites Take Flight, the Facebook group, look that up, send me a request, I'll be sure to get back to you. Hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. Until next time, guys, peace.